So the different data types that we have that we can store inside our variables are strings, hello, John, two fries, one burger, one shake. All these words or these characters, letters, numbers, all of them fit into strings. Now the way that we create a string, if you saw in the example earlier, we wrap them in double quotes or single quote. That's how we know that we're using string data type. The second data type is an integer. It's basically numbers. So like 2, 35, 500, 1 million, all of these are integers. Anything that's a whole number is an integer. Now notice that I emphasize the word whole. That's because we have another data type called floats. And floats are numbers with decimals. For example, 2.45 or 19.99, like a price of something that you want to buy. Or for example, for more scientific people, we have pi. That's a float, 3.14. Now the next data type, and this is the last basic data type, it's called a Boolean. Booleans are the simplest data types. They mean true or false. They're like these binary data types. They only have yes or no, like for example, is a student true or false? Is it raining? Yes or no? So there's the simplest data type that we have. The next data type that we have is actually more of a data structure than a data type. It's called lists. Lists are essentially a collection of items, and they allow us to store inside of them any type of data from the data types that we mentioned earlier. So for example, we could have two fries, which is a string, one, which is an integer, burger, which is a string, and then take a look, we have once more one, but this time it's wrapped in double quotes. That means that this one is actually a string and not an integer. And then we also have shake. However, we would like our lists to make more sense. So it's important that we keep a logical, sensible explanation for each one of the lists. For example, we have names over here. In names, we have John, Mary, and Hank. Then the previous list that we examined is in order. For example, two fries, one burger, and one shake. Inside the notebook, you can find a list of examples of all these different data types. But let's go ahead and take a look at this practical example over here. When we encapsulate our variable with double quotes or single quotes, essentially that means it's a string. Now, for integers, we don't need anything. We simply write the number that we want after the equal sign. For floats, the same thing, only the way that we can tell the difference between a float and an integer is with the decimal dot. The thing before it is a full number. The thing after the decimal dot is the remainder. For Booleans, all we need to do is simply write true or false. But remember that Python is case sensitive, so it has to be capital T or capital F for the true or false. Then when we move on to lists, we know that it's a list by opening square brackets. Then any item that we put inside the list is going to be separated with a comma. So essentially we can have as many items as we want inside the list as long as we remember to separate them using a comma. Now we can also go ahead and add Hank. And that's it. Those are the different basic variable data types.